What's going on, Dunces podcast family, people? Damn it, I messed up. Whatever, keeping it. What's going on, Dunces family? We are back with another episode of the Dunces podcast here with myself and the man himself, Isandro. We are here today, Isandro, as you can see behind me, my screen. I think we're gonna keep this for all our NBA content. Even though I had it for the non-sports, we'll be dropping tomorrow, or technically today for those watching, because it'll be posting around 12:30.
It'll already
So
be out.
it'll already be out. But that's not why we're here, man. But today we are not here to talk non-sports. We're actually here to talk sports. That's right. That's why you see me with this background. It's lovely, by the way. You should invest in one of those. But
Can I
we
just
are going
screenshot?
to no, well, yeah, literally that's what I did. I don't even have a green screen. I just yeah. I don't own any of this, by the way. Anyway, Lisandro, a trade happened today, dog. 2 months after Rudy Gobert was traded from the Utah Jazz for that massive haul, including Patrick Beverley, which we actually haven't even talked about yet, bro. The Patrick Beverley to the Lakers. We'll get your
I
take on
feel
that a
like we
little bit
did
later.
talk about it.
No,
No?
not in the pod, not in the pod. So we'll definitely get those thoughts a little bit later, but we gotta get to it, bro. The Utah Jazz have officially ended that era, I guess you can say, of second round losses. For the Utah Jazz, Donovan Mitchell, Rudy Gobert tandem. If you remember, obviously that was a big trade. We'll discuss Minnesota's point of view in a second. We're kind of gonna like bring all like multiple teams in this pot only because we can and because why not. But the Utah has been really active in the trades, right? The first trade, Rudy Gobert. Second trade, Patrick Beverley. Now this trade, Donovan Mitchell has officially been traded to Cleveland, not the Knicks. So, yo, you Knicks fans, sucks to be you guys, honestly. But let's look at exactly what the Jazz traded for. Traded Donovan Mitchell for. We see Colin Sexton. He got paid, I believe it was $18 million a year. Laurie Markkinen, O'Shea Agbahi, their 14th overall pick, solid defender. Three, what was it? Yeah, it was three unprotected firsts and two pick swaps, if I am not mistaken. Let's look at that just to be sure. Yeah. So it's picks Utah in 2025, 2027, 2029, and then pick swaps in 2026 and 2028. So, with that being said, Isandro, give me your take on Cleveland's side of things. I want to see,
Amazing.
it's lit, right? So give me your take. If you have the roster on your head or in your phone, go ahead and say it. If not, I know it. So by all
You
means,
know it. The
yeah, I do.
roster, not off the top of
Yeah.
my head, but that starting five is looking good, no?
Give me the starting five. Give me the starting five.
They got Jared Allen, Evan Mobley, Isaac Okoro, Donovan Mitchell, and Darius Garland, right? So what do
Solid
you think of that
starting
that,
five.
that five? I
That's
think
amazing. I mean,
Isaac is the only weak link, but he is good defensively. I just think he needs to. I don't think he needs to shoot lights out from three, but he definitely needs to at least
hit an
not be
open three.
terrible at three. Yeah, hit an
Hit an
open
open three.
three. Exactly,
Yeah.
exactly.
At
So
least be a
once,
threat out there, right?
yeah,
Yeah.
definitely. So if that happens, this team, if everybody
Whoop, whoop,
develops
whoop.
the way we think, I don't even think they really have to go all out. Like I don't even think
Bro,
Darius Garland needs to develop into a superstar. He could just stay in, and he could just develop to
oh man, your Wi-Fi, bro. You're killing me. Well, what I think Isandro was going to say was
four all
allude.
stars in like Esther.
Oh, wow, nice. Sorry,
Did
bro.
I
Your
cut off?
Wi-Fi just completely just. You know
I
what
mean,
I
I
mean?
told you my Wi-Fi is
Yeah,
bad.
I
So
know. It's all good. For those watching or listening, we're sorry for this technical difficulties. They will be fixed really soon, I hope. But
me too.
but basically, I did catch glimpse. Shout out Joji, a glimpse of what you were saying. Um, it's a solid starting five. Isaac Okoro is like you said, their weakest link. He can't score the ball. Let's be real. He cannot score, but
All
he
defense.
can cut to the basket if he needs to be, if he needs to do right. And more importantly, as long as he works on his 3-point shot in this offseason and next offseason, because I don't think anybody's expecting this Cleveland team to win a championship now, right? But they're definitely a threat. No one expects them to win it. And that's okay. You don't have to win it this year. You just traded for an all-star guard. You have 3 all-stars on your team right now. Well, technically 4 if you count Kevin Love, but come on, he's old. You got DG, Darius Garland, you got Donovan Mitchell, and you got Jared Allen, right? And then you got a potential all-star who was, one of the best defensive players in the league in Evan Mobley. He's second year player, but already showed flashes of greatness in his first season. So off your bench, you got a playmaker in Ricky Rubio once he comes back from injury. You drafted RJ Nemhard. Being able to keep him, I think, was one of my favorite things because Nemhard is a big guard. He knows how to play the point, and he's learning alongside Rubio. So he's more of like a next year type player. But right, but then you got Levert, you got Chetty Osman, you got Kevin Love, and you got Robin Lopez. You have veterans, you have young guys, and then you have your star, your main star in Donovan Mitchell, and Darius Garland, who can be that secondary, maybe even better than Donovan Mitchell. Who knows? Because he is younger, right? With this team, though, what is their ceiling? What do you think their ceiling is? Like to me, I give them like
for next
their
season.
minimum, yeah, their minimum second round. Like,
Minimum.
if
I think their
yeah,
maximum is the second round.
why do you say that? Like, I mean, obviously
Just
there's
because of
tiers, right? But yeah,
just because the way the rounds work, who you play in the second
right.
round is probably going to be a better team, depending, I think, right? Because
Yeah,
you
but
have the Celtics, you have Brooklyn,
yeah,
you have the Sixers.
Brooklyn is still up in the air, bro. Like,
I think they're going to be like they're going to figure it out and they're going to be a problem. Like the
see,
same thing with the Lakers being, the injury bug. I think that's their only like I think they're going to figure it out.
I don't know, man. Look, as a Nets fan, I'm all for that. I'm with that mentality. I'm thinking, you know what? KD and Kyrie and Ben Simmons, they have to figure it out, right? But of all the top teams in the Eastern Conference, we got Boston, we got Miami, we got Philly, we got Milwaukee. Milwaukee is still up there, right?
Hmm.
Of those four teams, all of them can beat Brooklyn. I don't see them. I don't see Brooklyn beating them because there's just so many question marks. How is KD going to be able to, come back from all this that's been going on? Is Kyrie going to be available? Ben Simmons, how is he going to be mentally? Steve Nash, how is he going to coach his team? What version of TJ Warren, Royce O'Neal players are you going to get? Like, you know what I mean? Like, there's a lot of
Shout
question
out
marks
our
with
Nets pod.
Brooklyn. Shout out the Nets spot. So there's a lot of question marks with Brooklyn, right? So I
You're
don't,
right, but
I
second
can't
round though,
put
I'm not
them in
talking
there,
about in general. Second round, if they play
right?
any of
So
the other teams, definitely. But second round, let's say this Cleveland team comes up against that Brooklyn team, even with all those problems you mentioned, especially the coaching. I
I give,
think having
I give
the
Cavs the edge, bro.
superstars on their team, I think
I don't
they're
know,
more
man.
talented. So it's gonna be like, I think I'm gonna put money. I would put money on if I had a choice on KD, Kyrie, and Ben Simmons, TJ
Well,
Warren, and all
yeah,
those guys over these guys because they're
star
still young,
power
you
over
know.
these guys. Yeah, that's what it is. But you look at that, defensive front court. It's the best. It could potentially be the best defensive front court in the league, and they're still so young, bro.
It already is, which is
It really,
crazy.
yeah, yeah. It's super exciting to think about though, right? Because you got players on that roster that really mesh. They really work together. Donovan is going to have to mesh with these guys because in reality they kept their core. The only player that's gone that was a rotational player last season was Laurie Markkinen, and he was very inconsistent for them, right? Like he's not going to be an amazing player in this league. We all know it. Mike Rosambo, you were wrong, right? But when it comes to this team, now they're bringing in a player can't play good defense. I mean, he plays okay defense, but he's 6'1", very undersized, playing with another 6'1" guard. Having this team together, though, he is a definite upgrade over Sexton. He's a definite upgrade over Levert in the starting lineup. So during the regular season, where do you see them landing? Are they a play-in team or are they going to make the top 6 seed? And if so, where would they be in the top 6 seed?
All right, well let's look at the teams. So you got
I mentioned
Milwaukee,
four, right? Yeah,
Celtics,
exactly.
Milwaukee
Yeah.
Celtics, Sixers, um, who
Miami.
else? Who was it? Miami. That's the four, right?
Hmm.
So
Brooklyn.
then there's two other spots. Did I say Brooklyn? No, I didn't say.
No,
So
let's
Brooklyn would
let's
be
give
five,
Brooklyn.
five,
Cleveland.
and then who's the six? And so
I
so
I
for the
I think it's
who else
Cleveland.
is contending for the sixth spot besides Cleveland?
Well, you got Toronto, right? Shout out Toronto right over there. You got Toronto. You got Atlanta. Atlanta has a solid
Oh, DeJounte
case.
Murray. Yeah,
DeJounte
that's
Murray,
true.
right? But we still have to wait and see what's going on with John Collins. It's still up in the air. Um, who else am I missing? Washington. I can't really
No,
give Washington edge
No,
on that one. I feel like I'm missing a team. I'm trying to see. Is there any team that I'm missing? Charlotte? No, Charlotte got worse. They didn't really get any better, right?
they did
So
get worse, yeah. Unless
yeah.
LaMelo takes another leap, which you kind of hope he does in year three.
Well, I mean, he obviously will. I mean, he's gonna have the ball even
He
more
could
now,
stay the same, but
right?
he's still a good player
Yeah,
regardless.
he's gonna be. Oh, Chicago. Chicago's up there.
I think they
Um,
leapfrog Chicago.
I mean, did Chicago really get better? I don't really know.
No,
Detroit's
Chicago
still
stayed the same.
young. Orlando still really young. Indiana is definitely not making the playoffs.
They're rebuilding.
Yeah, right. So in reality, it's up in
It's
the
just
air that
them
sixth
in
spot.
Atlanta.
It's Toronto. No, we can give Toronto. I would say Toronto because Scotty
Scotty
Barnes, he's
Barnes is
going to make
developing too.
another. Yeah, he's going to make another leap. You still have Van Vliet and Pascal. You saw,
That's true.
you got a bunch of wings, OG Anunoby and stuff. But if I'm a betting man, even though I'm not, but if I were, I would put Cleveland above those teams, especially over Chicago. I don't see how Chicago really got better. I mean, I get that they got um, Drummond, and I get that they got security in Goran Dragic, but Lonzo's still out. Who knows what's going on with his knee? DeRozan is getting older,
He's
right?
still out.
Yeah, they don't know what's going on with him. DeRozan is getting older, even though his game is good. He still can't shoot a
Yeah,
three,
but we're
right?
not. Yeah, yeah,
And then Zach Levine, he's a good player too, but it's not like he doesn't pop off the charts, right? And then you
yeah.
got Vucevic, who's
He can't be your best player. He
very
can be your second
inconsistent
best player.
last year, right? And then Patrick Williams, it's
Yes.
just there's just a lot of question marks with Chicago, right? So then you
Yeah.
get
Plus, this
into
Cleveland roster is already better than that Chicago roster,
exactly
minus Zach Levine, obviously.
right. And then Chicago made it last season to the playoffs, and Cleveland didn't, but Cleveland had major
Injuries.
guys get injured, right? Like I know the
Yeah,
Bulls
important
also had
guys.
had Lonzo and Caruso get hurt, and those guys were very important. Don't get me wrong, but with Cleveland, they were a top four seed basically throughout the entire season. The most consistent team in the playoff, and throughout the regular season up until those major injuries hit them, right? So if I'm them, I'm giving, I say Cleveland is that number six seed. But you can make the case for Atlanta if you think Atlanta's going to make it. I mean, by all means. Um,
I think they're all on a similar tier, but the thing with Cleveland is that they're still getting better. Atlanta, we already Trae Young's a
we
fantastic
kind of
player.
know,
We
yeah,
know
we
what we're
kind of
getting
know
with
what
him.
they are. Yeah,
Dejounte, we know what we're getting with him. We know what we're getting with John Collins if we ever getting him. And whenever DeAndre Hunter decides to not be injured, you know what you're getting with him, right?
right.
And the only thing that Toronto has, they have good players, is Scotty Barnes to develop. So I'm talking about like things that can change. And
Right.
for me, Cleveland has a lot more players that can surprise us in terms of like developing and growing, whereas
Yeah,
Toronto only has one player.
like
Everybody
Evan
else we know we're
Mobley,
getting.
right? Like Evan
Evan,
Mobley, I think is
Jared
is their
Allen can get
most
better too.
yeah, but I feel like Evan Mobley is like their most important player. Like don't
Yeah,
get me wrong,
definitely.
DG, and Donovan are obviously going to be offensively the most important, but
I think
overall well
together,
rounded,
I think together DG and Evan Mobley, just because
right?
them
Because they
together,
have that
Evan Mobley on
tandem,
the
right? The
defense and
age, yeah,
Darius Garland on the offense, the
right,
playmaking, scoring, stuff like that.
yeah,
Because DG, he's in his third season, so he's still getting better. And Evan Mobley, he was already so good in his first season, he's going to get even better. So
yeah,
those two players together, I feel like are just super important, just because of the development and what they already brought to the team last
yeah.
season.
So let's flip the switch. Let's go to Utah side of things, right? Again, I'll mention the trade again. They got Laurie Markkinen, Ochai Agbaji. Who's the other cat? What did I say? Who's the other? Oh, Colin Sexton. Wow, dang, that's how you know he's really not important. And then basically 5 first-round picks. They got 3 future firsts, unprotected, and 2 pick swaps. How do you feel about it for Utah side? Is it a good deal for them? Like I personally think
Yeah,
it's a
for
great
sure.
deal, not just for the picks,
Definitely.
but they got players that they can trade eventually. For more picks, right?
They got
Laurie, if
assets.
he balls out, they can trade him for a solid player, right? Same with Colin.
Mm-hmm.
Um,
Colin, yeah.
how do you feel about Colin Sexton and all this stuff? Like, do you think that
Yeah,
he's
it's great.
he's a winner in this trade?
Yeah. Well, he's making 18, right? I mean, that's how much he's worth.
Yeah, I mean,
Exactly, that's
I
how much he's
guess
worth.
yeah, because of inflation. I'll say that because I honestly I don't know if 18 mil is too much for him
Nah,
because
nah,
he's
I think it
but
is
but
because
it's a solid
pre-injury, pre-injury he was gonna make like 25, 30. So now
right.
post-injury, it makes sense for him to be making 18.
Yeah, I guess because again, inflation is a real big thing because Jalen Brunson got paid a lot, but it's just what it is now. It's the inflation of the salary cap. So
How
I
much is
guess
Jalen? How much is Jalen making a season?
he was like 29.
He's not making 29. He's making 29 a season.
Yeah, didn't he get
Brunson?
paid like 101 or something? Oh, no, it's probably 25 then. 25 million.
Probably it's probably like
Yeah, around
25, and
25,
they're
25.
players on the same level, but Jalen has proved it in the playoffs, so it makes sense he's making 7 million less post injury. I think it's a not an overpay.
It's
I
a low
think
risk, high reward. That's what it is. It's a low risk, high reward
low
with him.
risk, high reward. Yeah, if it
Yeah.
was anything more than 18, I would have definitely said it was overpaid though.
Yeah,
But I
if he
think
would
that's
have
just
gotten
like
someone around the 20 mil, I would have been like, I don't know. I don't know how I feel
20,
about
and
that.
20 is how much they were saying he was gonna get, and I'm like, and
Yeah,
that's
well,
why
that's how
that's
much
probably
you
why it took
wanted.
so long.
Yeah, how much you wanted.
That's probably
Right.
why it took so long
It would have been nice to see him, potentially in maybe in Dallas as a backup, you know.
because they have
But
Dinwiddie.
well, Dinwiddie and this guy would have started. Luca would have started. But I don't know. I mean, I look for his career. I
Maybe,
think
yeah,
Utah
you're
Utah is a great destination for him. There's literally no one is
yeah, for
expecting
sure.
anything from him, right? No one's expecting anything
Hmm.
from this team, right? So it's a low risk, high reward. But for the rest of the guys in Utah, your Mike Conleys, your Jordan Clarksons, your Bojan Bogdanoviches, Rudy Gay. What are you doing if you're those guys? Are you trying to get out of there and like
Fire sale. Send everybody out. Utah's gonna trade them soon. If not now, then by the end of the deadline,
well,
I
let's
think.
discuss it then. What do you think? What do you think would be a good package? Or because the Lakers are obviously linked, and let's just get into that right now, right? Actually, before that, give me a grade for both teams, Utah and Cleveland. Well, give me Utah's grade first on this trade, not on everything, but just on this trade.
Utah gets a B plus, and Cleveland gets an A plus. They get an A plus. Like there's no other way. Like you're
I
getting
give
a
yeah
borderline superstar, and you're giving up your future, but you have your future right now. You
right
have your future stars. Like
yeah, yeah.
and Donovan Mitchell's still young too. Like you're not
Twenty
really giving
six.
up your future.
26.
He's
Yeah, he's
26. Like
entering
he
his
could
prime.
potentially hit another level. Yeah,
Right.
exactly. He could hit,
Yeah,
he could probably hit his peak soon.
yeah, definitely. I give Utah a B plus too. I mean, I don't see anything special with the players that they got back. I mean, it could potentially be an A plus depending on what these picks become. Obviously, there's so many variables to this deal, but they have so much more that they're gonna do. So it could potentially be an A plus. So I'll boost them up A minus, right? I'll give them A minus. As for the Cavs, I give them an A. I think that they gave up everything that they could have given up. It sucks that they had to give up Abahi. I think he would have been a solid defender off their bench. Maybe if they could have given up Chetty, would have been nicer. But I give them an A. But with all that being said, let's move over to wow, my boy is focused in whatever he's looking at. I love that for him.
I'm not looking at
Let's
anything. I just zoned out.
love that. So yeah, so let's get into the rest of this stuff that's going on in Utah, right? They traded, let's go from the beginning. They traded Royce O'Neal for a first round pick, right? Then they traded Rudy Gobert for that massive haul. And we never actually spoke about it from Minnesota's perspective because obviously we mentioned Cleveland, right? We talk about how Cleveland, potential top 6 seed. I think they're locked for top 6 seed. Are they dark horse contenders? Maybe they could potentially make it past the second round into the conference finals, depending on any injuries. I would bet on them
It could
getting
have an
past.
Atlanta.
It could happen,
Hmm.
right? So with that in mind, let's go the other side in Minnesota. Do you think that that team can make a potential run at the finals, or like what do you expect from Minnesota in that?
Minnesota, they got Rudy Gobert. Minnesota is a definite second round exit, pending
You
with
think they're making
pending
it
on
past the first round?
injury. Yeah, because they're gonna get a high seed. They're gonna do good in the regular season because they have Rudy Gobert and he's a good regular season player. Um, they're gonna kill
Hmm.
in the regular season, and they have Cat too, who's a great regular season player. I mean, don't
Right.
talk to me about the playoffs with him. So they're gonna have a good seed. They're gonna get a lower seed, get the home court advantage. Probably beat that team in 6 or 7 games, move on
Right.
to the second round, and then that's when they'll play some actually good competition, and then that's when they'll bow out. Or if that team's injured, they might be able to sneak into the conference finals. So that's my
Minnesota?
prediction. If the team that they're playing is injured, obviously they're going to make it to the
That's
conference
wild to
finals.
me. Look, okay, let me read you
Really?
out their lineup real quick. They got D'Lo and Edwards, and I think all of this falls in the lap of Ant Edwards. If he develops into bro like all-star guard, Kobe type numbers, then this team could potentially make it to the finals. That's how good I think Anthony Edwards is. I think they can make it to the finals
Mm.
if he
Well,
plays.
what level is that?
Like I said, like Kobe type level. It's not easy to get there, right?
Well,
But
what's a
a
Kobe
player
type
like
level?
that,
What Kobe are we talking about?
he's averaging like 28 points a game. Um,
You think he could
solid.
do that?
So absolutely, I think he's gonna have to, right? Because D'Lo is going to be facilitating. He has one of the best rim running players
Facilitating,
in the
and he's
league.
good defensively now, so he's probably
D'Lo.
gonna. Yeah, yeah. The numbers last season, I was
Oh,
watching some
okay, yeah,
videos on
you're
it.
right. Yeah,
D'Lo's like he's
he's a
actually
solid.
good
Yeah,
defensively.
he's a solid defender.
Yeah,
Yeah,
but he was
he's
bad offensively, which is crazy.
that's insane. Yeah, imagine D'Lo being better on offense. But let me just read it back. So D'Lo and Edwards, Jaden McDaniels, another very important player for this team. Cat, Rudy Gobert, solid 35, right? But then it gets down to your bench, and then you have Austin Rivers, Bryn Forbes, Kyle Anderson, Torian Prince, and Naz Reid. Kyle Anderson was a great signing. Don't get me wrong. It's really just
Kyle
six
Anderson,
guys that you truly trust.
Bryn
Torian
Forbes.
is
Well, Bryn
very,
Forbes is a
very
good shooter too.
inconsistent. Bryn Forbes is a solid shooter. I'll give him that. But then it's Austin Rivers, who has been known for his career to be lackadaisical at times. It's just I feel like there's something missing off that bench, and they're overpaying their stars. Oh, Lisandro's gone, he's leaving me. But it's a lot of stuff, like I mentioned, that's going on there. Don't worry about it. That's good. I was able to manage. You baboon. But yeah, so I
Two
don't know.
seconds.
I can see them definitely making the finals or at least conference finals, depending on Anthony Edwards. How well does he mesh with this core, and how much does he want it? I feel like Anthony Edwards, if he truly wants it, he could be the best player in this league in a couple of years. Like he's that good, right? It'll be a battle between him and Luca. So it really just depends on what happens between him and his development, and then the rest of the team in Gobert. How much can they do in the postseason? Because they'll definitely get exposed. So it really just it matters how well he does. And then coaching Chris Finch. Yeah, I don't know, man. I mean, I hope he learned his mistakes from last season, but it's I don't know. I don't know how I feel about Chris Finch as their head coach.
He's
But it's
not bad.
definitely
He's not a championship level coach, but
yeah. But it's a solid story. At least for both sides. For both teams in Utah and Cleveland, because this trade really started and everything, right? Because though the Royce O'Neal trade technically started everything, it was Rudy Gobert that like kind of barred anything for Kevin Durant, stopped everything for Donovan. And then once, KD redacted his trade request, now Donovan gets traded for a couple first round picks more, right? It's a great way to look at it. But now let's go into another point on Utah. This is basically going to be another Utah Jazz podcast, honestly. They traded Patrick Beverly for Taylor Horton Tucker and Stanley Johnson. They're getting sent out to the Lakers. How do you feel about it from Utah's perspective? Do you think this is a good trade for Utah? Again, low risk, high reward type thing, or how do you feel about it?
great pick
Does it
for
even
Utah,
matter?
especially with Colin Sexton coming in and he can space the floor kind of. You got a shooter, somebody who's gonna be good offensively, and THT will be kind of decent
Oh, yeah,
defensively. I'm
yeah,
talking about just like fit, like they have a good team for the
being
expectations
bad.
being on the floor. Like the
Yeah,
expectations are
yeah,
there's zero expectations. So
yeah.
now when you have a team with zero expectations and three promising players who can still reach another level, they're not going to be
Right.
superstars or anything like that. Um, it's looking good for Utah, and they got a good future. They got some picks in the Sexton trade, so everything together, the THG and Stanley Johnson, like he's not bad.
He's
I
a
think
good,
Stanley
solid
Johnson
player.
is a little
Yeah,
underrated.
yeah. I mean,
Exactly, yeah. So
he's
it's
definitely. It wasn't really his fault, like the way his career has panned out. But it's a solid pickup for Utah. But
and
Lakers
they weren't
side,
going to do anything with Patrick
yeah,
Beverly, so
exactly. So let's get into the Lakers side of things. Bringing Pat Bev and Russell Westbrook together on the same team, bro.
it's funny because we know Pat Bev, he's going to be a professional. He's not going to have a problem with it. Russ is going to be the one. It's funny. Oh man, I mean, I love Russ, but it's just everything revolves around him. It's just there's so many problems
It
because
hurts, bro. It
there's
hurts.
very few players in the league that you would bring Pat Bev in and say, "Oh no, it's going to be a problem," because Pat Bev is a professional. He's gonna, but it's Russ. Russ is going to
Okay,
be a baby.
no, no,
He's
but
going to
let's
have
be real. Let's
a
be
problem with
real. There were things that Patrick Beverly has done that, bro. I'm sorry, you can't justify it. Injuring Russell Westbrook the way that he did for no reason like that, that obviously anybody's going to be pissed off. He literally jammed him right in the face during a timeout. Literally, it was a timeout, and then he runs into him, right, and then he hits him in the face, which
Yeah,
basically
Pat Bev was
hurts him.
100% wrong in that, but you know when that happened? That was like 8 years ago. I'm
Okay,
pretty
but
sure.
again, bro, like you're
Let
not
it
gonna tell
go.
me that an injury, something that like really it affected the team because after
Yeah,
he
it
got
prevented them
injured,
from going. Yeah.
it prevented them going far. But then the next season after, he hurt him again, and then he wasn't able to play the entire season after that because of what Patrick Beverly had done to him. So
hmm
a lot of Russ's injuries have to do with Patrick, and it was years. It was years of him being rude and disrespectful. And I get it, they're teammates now. You
Exactly.
you
But
kind of
they've
have
had
to.
their beef. They beefed. It's been 8 years, so
But
they had the
okay, but I'm
time
looking at look at
to
it from
beef
the
and really duke
injury
it out.
side. Look at it from the injuries perspective. You're hurting a man on purpose. On purpose. You're deliberately trying to hurt this man so that he doesn't keep playing the game of basketball, the game he loves. Right? Like that to I I'm not saying that Russ shouldn't like kind of let it go and like focus on the team because I'm all for that. He should focus on the team, try to win a championship because that's why he was brought in. That's why they traded for him to win a championship with his team, right? But at the same time, you can't fault him for being upset at Patrick Beverly for everything that he's done to him. It's just
Yeah,
what he
100%.
did was
Like I'm not.
wrong.
Yeah,
It was
yeah.
wrong what he's done to him.
Listen, they don't gotta be friends. They don't gotta be buddy buddy. This is not a situation where it's like, oh, you're suddenly on my team. Hey, let's let bygones be bygones. You're my best friend. Come over. Let's have some dinner. It's
Right.
not that situation. They're not gonna be cool like that. But there's gonna be a
It's a
certain
level of
level of
professionalism.
respect,
Yeah,
a professionalism.
professionalism. That's what
Exactly.
it is. That's what it is. And you're right. Maybe Russ might not show that, especially at first. But I think a team with LeBron and is going, he's going to tell him like, bro, like, listen, at the end of the day, this is kind of like your make or break year because if you suck with us, you're not going anywhere. Like no team is signing you after this season for the way that you don't want to, the way that you're playing. You're playing like you're this MVP player. You're not this MVP player. So stop it,
hmm
right?
How much do you think
But
Russ is gonna make on his next contract?
if he even gets one,
He'll go when, yeah, it's Russ. He'll make like 15, 10 million.
people said that about
10
AI.
million?
People said that
Huh?
about AI, bro, and AI
But
was gone.
oh, that's true. AI didn't want to change he didn't want to
And
change. And
that's
AI didn't want to
that's
come
the
off the
issue
bench.
here.
If that's the same thing with Russ, but what if no, you're right. He doesn't want to come off the bench. This team would be so much better if Russ was coming off the bench, but his ego, it's the same thing.
It's the Melo
That's tough.
situation. Now Melo at least learned and he
He
tried
learned,
to
yeah.
change, right? But at that point, it was a little, it was a little too
Too
late.
little,
Not,
too late.
yeah.
Yeah.
So let's hope that's not the
It's
case with Russ.
bittersweet because we saw what it could have been if Melo had made those changes earlier, right?
Yeah, literally, bro. Like he could have definitely won a championship
hmm
if he would have made those changes, but he didn't, right? But
hmm
I look his next contract, if it even comes to fruition, I'm not giving him more than the mid level, like 6 million,
How much is the
7 million.
mid-level six? Oh, okay.
That's around there, I would say, because of inflation again. I'm not giving him more than that because why am I gonna trade away potentially a young up and coming player for an aging player that doesn't want to change and is has gotten a label, I guess you can say, of uncoachable, right? And maybe not to the extent of certain players have had in the past, like AI or even Jimmy at one point, right? But if you look at it, he got his coaches fired a few times now, right? He got Scott Brooks fired. Billy Donovan was gone, and a lot of that had to do with Russ, right? And then, I mean, obviously the trades also were a thing, but Billy wasn't going to do anything on that team. And then with Frank Vogel, it's kind of like a pattern. Scott Brooks again in Washington, right? So it's a really weird way to look at things because you would want Russ 5 years after winning the MVP award to want to change, right? But he's not going to. So what can you do? You make up for it with the trades that you make around him. That's why I think Patrick Beverly is a solid pickup. Not only does he play defense, he brings energy to the team, and he can knock down a 3-point shot, something Russ cannot do. So with that being said, what do you give that trade for Utah and LA? I give LA for that trade an A plus. Utah, I give them a B. I don't see THT being anything special, but it's also again low risk, high reward, so it doesn't really matter. But what do you give them on that trade?
The Lakers?
Lakers and Utah.
Um, Utah. They get, I'd say a B. They didn't get any picks, but I
I
mean,
was
it's
in
the
that
Lakers.
same.
You can't
Yeah.
really expect picks. And the Lakers, I'm gonna give it A because they needed to get rid of THT and Stanley Johnson was a
Right.
sweetener. And if Russ wasn't on this team, Patrick Bev would be a perfect fit. He still is a perfect fit, but the only thing that kind of brings it down is the fact that you made this trade with Russell Westbrook, and it's for purely non-basketball reasons, sadly. So I'm gonna give them an A.
So if you're the Lakers, are you like, you know what? Screw it. I'm giving up Russ. I'm giving up these two first round picks and potentially a second round pick for Buddy Hield and Miles Turner. Are you
100%.
are you doing that?
Like
Wow.
everybody's saying it. I'm not like I've said this before too, but it's not like it's an original idea. I've
Yeah.
heard it everywhere. You're not winning anything with Russ on this team. I'm sorry. Like
True.
unless the team you're playing in that round is injured, you're not winning anything with Russ. Like LeBron
Right.
and Russ do not work. Like even our like me being so optimistic, liking Russ being a LeBron fan last season, I even thought that the team wasn't going to move up. I thought optimistically, yeah, we'll stay the same. Russell, he'll alleviate the load a little bit, but I knew that the ceiling wasn't very high, and then the season transpired, and then I was like, oh wow, this is
It's
probably
even
what
worse
we all
than
thought.
we
This is what
expected.
we all thought was going to
Yeah.
happen, but we were optimistic that it wasn't going to happen.
Because of
So
Braun and AD, yeah.
exactly, yeah. So nah, get Russ off this team. They're not going anywhere with him.
So
That's my take.
you're trading them and those two future firsts. Again, I'm gonna reiterate that because they're future first round picks unprotected for
Hmm.
Miles Turner and Buddy Hield.
Yes, because Miles Turner is young. AD is technically still young.
They're around the same
Um,
age, yeah.
they're around the same age. Who else did they have? They have. Oh, my main point here is that LeBron just extended, right? And AD is still going to be here a couple more seasons. Miles Turner, I don't know how many years is he going to have with this team? He's going to have a couple years with this team, right?
Yeah. Well, I think
Probably.
actually is he
So,
uncontracted? I don't know. Maybe another year.
well, you extend him, you go into the luxury, whatever. They're going to be contending for a couple more seasons following this season. So, if they keep Russ, this season is a wasted season. So, the next few seasons is really going to kick up.
Right.
So, the question is, do you want to waste another year of LeBron's post
LeBron.
prime status? Because post prime LeBron is still on the level to help you win a championship, in
Right.
my opinion, right? That's really what it boils down to. Is this year going to be a wasted year? And they're looking at those two picks, and yeah, they're going to be good picks because you're going to be bad.
Yeah.
But the whole point of an NBA player's career, the whole point of a franchise existing, like I'd say maybe 99% of the time, is to win a championship. You did that already, but
I
you want
think
more. You're LA.
I yeah,
So
that's
what's
the
the
key
point of
right
those
there.
two picks
That's
if
the key right
you
there.
can maximize your potential now to win? Does that make
Look,
sense?
yeah, look at it from that perspective. Looking at it from that perspective, LA is LA for a reason. The Lakers, LeBron, he's not down for those picks. He doesn't care about those picks. He cares about his career right now. He wants to win another championship. He wants to get that fifth championship. He wants to solidify himself as the greatest player of all time, which to most people he already is. Right now, these next couple of seasons are
A
just
lot of
extra
people. I
seasons for him. Right.
wouldn't say
Yeah,
most.
I would say yeah. A lot of people say that, right?
Yeah.
So he's going to pass Kareem this season. So I won't say the whole season is a wash, but it also kind of is because at the end of the day, yeah, he accumulated all the points in the world, whatever. Where's that other championship? And
Hmm.
all the fault is going to go on Braun because the Lakers don't want to trade these first round picks. Now, Buddy Hield and Miles Turner may not look like sexy names, but bro, for this team, they would work out. Oof, my God, bro.
Spacing an interior
Buddy
presence to help
Hield
out AD because he's injury prone and he's not
Buddy
going to be the
Hield is
defender
shooting
too
around
much.
what 47.5% from three. He's one of per 36. Miles Turner is the number one leader in blocks per game per 100 possessions. Like Miles Turner, not only can he play defense, I'm always going to allude to this point. He can shoot. He can shoot the three. AD cannot
What
shoot
is
right
this?
now.
But you keep saying that.
He can
What can
shoot.
he
No, no,
shoot?
no, no.
Can he
For
shoot
for a big man, he can
for a
shoot. He's
big
like
man?
he's
But
like Joel
he
Embiid.
probably shoots like league average,
No,
right?
no, no. Yeah, exactly. Like look at it from this perspective, right? In 2K, and I'm gonna throw out 2K to you so you can come get it with your boy. But in
Subliminal
2K,
messaging.
yeah, that's right. In 2K, I have a big man that can, but he'll probably be 4 for 9, right? 4 for 8. I know in 2K it's not that good, but in the NBA, that's solid. That's like a 4 for 11 type game. That's what Miles Turner could do for you. Now he's not gonna take 11 threes. That's crazy. But he's gonna hit
That's the
two
percentage.
out of five, right? Like, or 2 out of 4. Stuff like that. Like he'll make a three. You can't leave him open.
You're right.
Right. So
You're right.
imagine a team that has Braun as their main ball handler, secondary ball handler is Patrick Beverly, I guess you can say. And then you got Buddy Hield in that corner, Miles Turner in that corner, AD in the post. Or you swap that, you put AD in the corner, probably mid-range area, because right now his shooting is just atrocious. But you put Miles Turner in the post. You got a solid 5-man team, bro. I think you do it. Honestly, I really think you do. I think you turn
Me too.
you turn the Pacers into a form of the Jazz and the Thunder with all them picks that they're gonna get, because it would be a solid trade, and maybe they decide to keep Russ, and then he bolsters his trade value or whatever. I don't know. Who knows? The thing is, Russ is the least of your worries,
If you're Indiana,
right?
you do that, right? Like 100% of the
No, no.
time because of the
If I'm
picks.
Indiana, I'm waving him.
What are you talking? No, I'm saying like you do the trade. You waive
Oh
him,
yeah,
obviously, and
absolutely.
then
Yeah,
you
for the
get.
picks. Yeah.
Mhm.
Because what do you need these guys for? Honestly, like you got Jalen Smith. Is that his name? Yeah, Jalen Smith. I forget his name. The kid that they traded from
Yeah,
Phoenix.
and
Yeah,
he was
Jalen
good.
Smith.
He was
He's
good.
solid, bro.
Mhm.
Former number 10 overall pick. He's solid.
Mhm.
And then you got what else do they got? They drafted this kid, Benedict. Is it Benedict Mathurin? I think it's Benedict. I think that's his name. He's another, solid wing player. Tyrese is your best player.
Mhm.
Make him your next Shea. What OKC's doing with Shea. Have a great guard right now, and then build your team around that. That's what they can do
Mhm.
with this guy. Trade Miles, trade Buddy. They don't gotta be there.
It
You
could
got
literally be an
Duarte. You got
OKC situation. Yeah,
you're
you're right.
chilling. You're chilling if you're Indiana. You want those picks. In fact, you're taking another second round pick just because you can. It's exciting to see what this team can do. Hopefully they make this trade. But with all that being said, let's kind of tie this back into the main point of this podcast. And we discussed a lot of things, but the main thing was Donovan Mitchell trade. Donovan Mitchell, again, I'll reiterate it, he got traded to Cleveland. One of the best trades, I think, this offseason. It was kind of like more of a that makes sense type trade. You know what I mean? Like the Rudy Gobert was just insane because of the amount of picks that were given up, right? The Royce O'Neal was confusing at first because you're like, why are you trading one of Donovan's best friends, right? A lot of these were just confusing deals. This one makes sense, not just for Utah, but for Cleveland and for the NBA as a whole. This is like a normal trade, something that I think is going to allow other players and other teams, whenever a player like this, their caliber, decides to ask for a trade, this is kind of like the threshold. Like, oh yeah, like it's not gonna be too crazy. Um, but that's all I have to say on this one. Isandro, you got anything you want to say on this, or we're all done
And
with
I think
this?
we covered it. Yeah, I think we covered it
I
really
think we
well.
covered it too, my man. So, with that being said, please like, subscribe, and hit the like button down below if you're watching us on YouTube. If you are listening to us on any of the podcasting platforms, please shout us out. Shout us out on Instagram, on Twitter, and all that. We're still trying to find a TikTok. I'm sorry, I don't know how to, man. I don't know how to do it, but I'll figure it out. Please, shout us out to your
You
dogs,
download the
families,
app.
cats, brothers, and sisters. Don't tell me what to do. And with all that being said, peace.